the most tremendous new musical experience you can have.
Hey yo, what's up y'all? It's Logan, and I'm here bringing y'all this review to this newest Black project called Six Piece Hot EP. Now, you know, those of you who don't know Black, he is an R&B singer coming out of Atlanta. Of course, this is his follow-up to his last project in 2018, East Atlanta Love Letter. I personally really enjoyed that one, and I really enjoy Black as a whole. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say this. For the rest of this review, I will be referring to him as Six Lack. I know his name's Black. I get it. It's a meme. I buy into it. I think it's funny. So, anyways, Six Lack. What I love about him, he has a beautiful voice. He has a really good vibe. He fits in with a really dark, introspective, sad tone most of the time. He doesn't really give you much upbeat stuff, so that's one thing about him. If you don't like that going into it, you probably won't enjoy him that much. And that being said, I personally really enjoy that. You know, I love The Weeknd when he gets deeper and darker. Same thing with Future, you know, artists like that. Another thing about him is specifically with this project, this one was put off due to all the issues going on, like with racism and police brutality, all the protests going on. He put this one off a couple of weeks just because it didn't seem right, because it was scheduled to release right when that was coming, right when that was starting. So he decided to push it off until this past weekend. Now, what are the pros of this project? He has an amazing vibe and amazing overall voice. That's just a pro of him as an artist. If you like his other music, you'll like this one because it's right in line with that. Again, darker, introspective tones, good vocals, all of that. Now, this one, he really focuses on what he's good at and kind of stays in that zone. He doesn't branch out like he would have the opportunity to do on a longer project or something like that. Now, if you look at the cons, if you don't like his stuff, this isn't going to convince you. Like, he's not doing anything different or new, like I said. So if you didn't like him before, that it kind of plays both sides of the coin there. And again, playing both sides of the coin, being that he doesn't really venture out of his comfort zone too far, I mean, it could get pretty one note, but being that it is only 6 tracks in 19 minutes, it's kind of hard to get bored with that short of a project if you do enjoy him at least a little bit, if you've enjoyed his previous work. Now, going through the tracks that I specifically wanted to point out, we start out with ATL Freestyle, and this one we keep it dark and sadder, kind of setting the tone. A little bit of a guitar line going through to add to that darker, more melancholic vibe. Overall, a really good track. A really good intro altogether to set the tone for this project. That is followed up by Long Nights with Ari Lennox on it. That's another slow track, not quite as dark, a little bit more intertwined with regret and love going on in there. But still a solid vibe. Again, you know, it has that love tone to it, but you can sense some regret of doing something wrong. Not quite to the toxic level, like a Future where, yeah, I did it wrong. And I mean, kind of like I said, with that regret, like, I shouldn't have done that, or I shouldn't have been with this person, or whatever. So, that, again, another solid track that fits within his topic zone and with the vibe that he's going with. After that comes Float, which is probably the darkest and saddest track altogether, most introspective. It's just basically talk about how he's just trying to stay afloat despite all that's going on with being quarantined, with racism and the protest and all of that. And he kind of gives a little bit of light to that and how he's feeling about it as well. So I thought this was probably the best track altogether. I really enjoyed it. Now after that comes Know My Rights with Lil Baby. And this is just bragging on their achievements. This one does kind of change the tone a little bit. I'm not going to say it is technically more upbeat, but it's kind of relaxed, you know. I actually think that this song would have benefited more from being more upbeat. This is a more rap-centric track, even with Six Lack giving us a couple bars. Yes, he is kind of vibing with it. He is kind of crooning a little bit, I guess. Not auto-crooning, but, you know, just going through his bars. He's not just strictly rapping, but yeah, it's more like that Chris Brown on Slime and B, like how he sounded. That's how Six Lack sounds on this one, except, you know, he's not Chris Brown, so he's not going to pull off the rapping quite the same. But again, this is very laid back, kind of a minimalistic beat. led by a deep bass line on this one. It's not overall my favorite track. It's just kind of very understated. There could have been a lot more energy. Baby does have a decent feature, again, with following suit with his string of good features throughout this year. That has really surprised me. But again, even his energy is really low and doesn't do anything to bring up this track. And I just think with the content that they were covering on there, they could have brought more energy to this track. But moving on, Elephant in the Room is another track I want to point out, which is basically, it's just a track of an argument between two lovers discussing major issues in the relationship and how they can't compromise for each other because the guy, you know, of course Six Flags taking the point of view from a guy because that's what he is. He feels like he gives up more for her than she does for him, and again, you know, vice versa. It plays both ways. Overall, a solid track, pretty good concept going on in there. Nothing new, but really enjoyable nonetheless. And finally, we get to Outside, which is by far the most relaxing track altogether. Really relaxing piano beat going through this entire track, and I would have to say the most beautiful vocals altogether. I really enjoyed his vocals on this one, and it really stands out more because of the piano beat going through. So overall, this is a really solid EP. Again, 6 tracks in 19 minutes. I can't ask for much more. If they would have made a couple of improvements, maybe if he tried a little bit more, rather than just going straight through with the same vibe, and then specifically with the song Know My Rights, that should have been the best song on here, but they just did not come with enough energy. So that could have been salvaged a little bit better. You know, if you like Six Lack, you're going to enjoy this project. It might not be your favorite. I don't think it's as good as East Atlanta Love Letter, and I don't think it's intended to be. Again, it's a short EP compared to an actual full-length studio album. But you definitely find a few keepers on here. If you don't like him, you're not going to like this. This is not going to pull you over by any means. So overall, this is a really easy listen. I enjoyed it. And I'm going to have to give this one a solid 7.5 out of 10. Yeah, nothing to break down there. I mean, again, a couple of improvements could have been made. It's really short, really easy to vibe with and listen to. Not quite a ride and vibe because it's just kind of more slower and not something you're going to want to listen in the car unless you're wanting to, like, cry. But again, yeah, really, really enjoyable project. Make sure to check it out. That being said, make sure to hit the like button, comment, sub. Hit the bell next to my name for notifications. Share this video. I appreciate y'all so much, and I will hit y'all up next time.